الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين عليه السلام. We're going to do commentary of Ziyarat Ashura. We're at this line, وَأَنْ يَرْزُقَنِي طَلَبَ ثَارِي, and to bestow upon me with the chance to take my own vengeance. مَعْ إِمَامٍ هُدًى ظَاهِرٍ نَاطِقٍ بِالْحَقِّ مِنْكُمْ, with a leader of true guidance who is divinely sustained and expressing the truth from among you. One of our great scholars by the name of Ayatollah Musawi Tehrani, he has a book called Mikyal al-Makarim, which can be found online. In this book, there's an introduction where the author says he had a dream of Imam Mahdi and he was instructed to write this book, and the Holy Imam gave him the title of this book. So this book is a dua of why we should do dua for Imam Mahdi. It is a book of explaining why we should do dua for Imam Mahdi. We look at the book and you see, for example, different letters of the alphabet. And these are different reasons, each letter. One of them is, for example, Qaf. And you see in Qaf, it says Qatilu Iblis, that Imam Mahdi will kill Iblis. So therefore, we should do dua for him. And also when you look at Tha, under the section which is for revenge, you see that we should do dua for Imam Mahdi to come back because he is the revenger of Imam Husayn's blood. Look at the Holy Quran. We see, وَمَنْ قُتِلَ مَظْلُومًا فَقَدْ جَعَلْنَا لِوَلِيهِ سُلْطَانًا فَلَا يُصْرِفْ فِي الْقَتْلِ, and whoever is killed unjustly, we have given his heir authority, but let him not exceed limits in the matter of taking life. Many verses of the Quran talk about Imam Mahdi. There are over 100 verses that their inner meaning at least talk about Imam Mahdi. This is one of them, that this verse of the Holy Quran has a very explicit and zahir dalalat or indication, and that is about a person who is killed unjustly. The heirs have the right, the authority to kill them, but they should not exceed limits. But here in Tafsir Ayashi, which is actually a great scholar, maybe from around 900,000 years ago, and he was what we say was actually from our brothers from Ahlul Sunnah, and he became Shia and became a great scholar. And he gave his whole life for the madhab of the Holy Prophet of Islam and the Ahlul Bayt. He says in his tafsir that we have this tradition from the Imam Baqir alayhi salam, that we read this, that he says that here, وَمَنْ قُتِلَ مَظْلُومًا, meaning whoever is killed, that is Imam Husayn alayhi salam, and sultanan, that has been given, لِوَلِيهِ sultanan, and the authority, the heir that has authority, that is Imam Mahdi. So we see that there is a link, a great connection between Imam Mahdi and Imam Husayn alayhi salam, that he has been given the task of seeking revenge for Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Let's read more traditions. Looking at Al-Kafi, this is the 6th hadith. I believe it's in the section talking about Imam Husayn's birth. And we see his hadith, and we see that after Imam Husayn alayhi salam has been martyred, the angels come to Allah and they complain. They complain that, and they cry actually. They do dhajja, they cry, buka, and they ask, how was this allowed that the Imam Husayn alayhi salam, your ambassador, the son of your prophet, was killed, was martyred? How did this happen? Then Allah, in this tradition, says, فَأَقَامَ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ ذِلْ الْمَهْدِي. I changed the word, so it's not recommended to stand, but we have shown this. So basically Allah says He has shown the shadow of Imam Mahdi to them, to these angels. وَقَالَ بِهَذَا إِنْتَقِمْ لِهَذَا. By him, the revenge of Imam Husayn alayhi salam will take place. So you see, right after Ashura happens, right after Karbala, the event of Karbala happens, that Allah is showing the angels that a person will revenge him. So this is a belief that we have, that it is ingrained in Imam Mahdi to take revenge of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. We see in Ilal al-Sharaya, different books we have. Actually, we have when it comes to the companions of Imam Mahdi. And they have these abilities to move mountains. They're so powerful, they could move mountains if they wanted to. And they pray at night, they're lions at daytime. And one of those slogans that they have, the companions of Imam Mahdi, when Imam Zaman is returning, is Ya ثارى al-Husayn, which is the revenge of the blood of Imam Husayn. So when you look at the time period we're living in right now, and you see millions and millions and millions of people coming to Karbala, and Imam Husayn is part of their lives, part of their proclamations, their slogans, their chants. You see how close these narrations are, to the time period now. We cannot make a specific time period, but we know that inshallah it is close, and this is how it's going to be like, because there's going to be a large group of people that are going to be Husayni, 20 million people that are waiting for the Imam to come back. Also, we see with the sicknesses now, you see other traditions, and some ask, is it close, the dhuhr? We cannot put a time period for the dhuhr. But the red death and the white death is from plague, that is in the hadith. We cannot say it's of the very certain signs, but it is in the hadith. And we cannot say for sure, this is, the dhuhr is going to be very, very close. Inshallah, we do dua, it is. But we know this is how the hadith are being understood, and that this is how the time period is going to be like before the advent of Imam Zaman. That there's going to be sickness, a fraction of the world will die out of sickness. So we understand this, and we understand that the world is going to become Husayni, that a group of people are going to be Husayni. These are the companions of Imam Zaman. And we look more that this connection that we see between Imam Mahdi and Imam Husayn alayhi salam, that they are inseparable. But a question here arises, and that is, how can it be that Imam Mahdi seeks revenge for Yazid when Yazid is already dead, when Umar ibn Sa'd is already dead, when these people, these mal'oons, are already dead? One of the answers that is given, there are three answers we can give. One is that the descendants of Yazid, they live, and Imam Mahdi will kill them, the descendants of Yazid. So some here argue, well, the descendants, they weren't the ones doing this action. How can they be responsible for an action they never did? So we have a tradition from Imam Rida alayhi salam that explains this, saying that they are satisfied with what their forefathers did. So when a person is satisfied, they are as if they have done it. They are sharik, they are a partner in crime. Another answer is there will be a group, and that group will be Yazidi, and their minds and intellect and their thinking and the way their beliefs will be Yazidi, and Imam Mahdi will do away with them. Of course, there will be Nasabi, they'll be cursing the Ahlul Bayt, just like how they cursed Imam Ali alayhi salam for about 90 years. There will be a group, and they'll do this, and they will be killed by Imam Mahdi. The third answer is that because Raj'at and the return is one of the tenets of Madhhab al-Shia, that we believe in Raja, we believe in the return, and there's verses in the Quran about Raja in general, so it is possible. And then we have so many hadith that it's mutawatir, fawqa mutawatir. So many hadith that we have that it brings us certainty. That the common opinion is that if a person doesn't believe in this Raja, they are not Shia. So we see that Raja, the return, is not only for the very pious, for the very good, for the Prophet, the Imams, and others. We see that it is also for the very evil, the polytheists or the disbelievers, it says in some of the hadith. So Yazid will be brought back according to this, and justice will be served. So inshallah we can be of the army of Imam Mahdi, those that seek the revenge of the blood of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Right now we're going to do the musibat in the Rawda of Qasim ibn Hassan alayhi salam. As you know, it's very difficult for an uncle who has also raised Qasim and Abdullah as his own sons, and they have been with him. And when we look at these orphans and, the fragrance, the look that they had, they reminded Imam Husayn a.s. all the time of their brother. How hard it is for Imam Husayn to allow him, Qasim, to go to the battlefield. See, the army of Imam Husayn is an unparalleled army in history, because you see very, very young people like Qasim ibn Hassan, that are not even some of the books of history didn't even reach puberty. He was a ghulam. And he comes to the day of Ashura, and they say that, خَرَجَ إِلَيْنَا غُلَامٌ كَانَ وَجْهُهُ شِقَّةُ غَمَرٍ. A ghulam, a young lad comes, and his face was like the first splinter of the new moon. So this is Qasim ibn Hassan, the remembrance of Imam Hassan a.s., a child that when Imam Husayn a.s. was talking to his companions, and he's telling them that everyone's going to die the next day. There, Qasim ibn Hassan comes to Imam Husayn worried that, will I be amongst the martyrs? Will I be amongst the martyrs? A battle that thousands of people are surrounding you, and you're only, say, 70, 100. And then Imam Husayn tests him and asks him this. He says that, how do you see death? And it's reported that Qasim ibn Hassan answers, "Oh uncle, death is sweeter to me than honey." So Imam Husayn knew he was ready. So it's the day of Ashura. Qasim ibn Hassan is coming to battle. Imam Husayn is saying goodbye to him. But they see him in the book of Tarikh al-Tabari, it's mentioned, that he comes carrying a sword. He comes wearing a shirt and a waistcloth, a pair of sandals. There, Umar ibn Sa'd, ibn Nawfal Asadi or Asdi, says, let me attack him. So they attack him, and they hit Qasim ibn Hassan after the battle, hits him in such a way that he splits his head. And Qasim ibn Hassan, his face falls towards the ground. Imam Husayn comes, and Qasim ibn Hassan says, Ya Amma, O uncle. And then Imam Husayn comes quickly, Fajalli al-Husayn alayhi salam, kama yujallis sagar. Fajalla al-Husayn alayhi salam, kama yujallis sagar. So the same way that a hawk comes to save Qasim ibn Hassan, Imam Husayn comes and comes in front of him. Imam Husayn comes like a raging lion, it says, and he takes back the army that has attacked Qasim ibn Hassan. But after the dust comes to the ground and people can now see, they see Qasim ibn Hassan is on the ground. And Imam Husayn is there talking to him and saying to him, ثُمَّ قَالَ عَزَّ وَاللَّهِ, by Allah, it is hard, عَلَىٰ عَمِّكَ, upon your uncle, أَن تَدْعُوهُ فَلَا يُجِيبُ, that you call your uncle and he did not answer you. أو يجيبك ثم لا ينفعك, or rather he answered, but your cry was too late for me to help you. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Inna lillah, inna ilayhi raji'un.